Hi, everyone. David Griffin here with ThinkHero.com, here to bring you another review of Breaking Bad Season 5. We got episode 13 this week. Please forgive me ahead of time for my pronunciation, but I believe it's Tujili. My Navajo is not what it used to be, so I apologize if anybody has any expertise or any background on the reservation, the Indian reservation that this show is named after. That'd be great. Did a little bit of research. It is part of the Navajo tribe. It's a section that I believe is west of Albuquerque, so that's what I'm assuming that's where the money was buried in this episode, where Walt buried his money. So again, besides the title, another great episode of Breaking Bad. Just keeps getting better and better, getting closer and closer to the end. It's too close. I mean, we had some funny parts in this episode. I love the stuff with Yul, with the whole shot of Jesse with the brains being blown out. I mean, that was just great strategy by Hank and Jesse and his crew. That was great. Of course, I love seeing Walt Jr. Trying to learn more about the A1 way and have an A1 day in the A1 business, taking over the empire of car wash services that they have. But back to the important things. Let's start with the beginning. Todd and Lydia, what an awesome scene. It's crazy. I think she can sense his affection towards her. Todd is a cool character, man. He definitely needs his own spinoff show. I know it's not going to happen, but I would love to see his own spinoff show. It makes me sad that the series is about to end because I want to see more of Todd. He's so interesting. He's almost like a little kid, even though I know his character is young, but he almost seems like a little kid, just kind of yearning for a parental figure. I mean, like Jesse, he kind of, calls Mr. White, has this great respect for Mr. White. Like, I love when he's, making the, he's making the meth. He's like, well, Mr. White said he shouldn't breathe in fumes. Mr. White says this. I mean, he has great respect. He's almost looking for a parent figure. I'm assuming his band of brothers and family members that he has, those crazy guys in his posse, are definitely probably not the family that the kid needs. But I love Todd. I like his vulnerability. It was really cool, the scenes with Lydia. I think Lydia, again, even though she's crazy, I always like to give her a lot of credit because I think she's super smart. I think Lydia senses Todd's affection, bringing her the tea and all that. And she's, kind of using that, being like, Todd, you really need to do this for me. Like, this is really important to me. I think she can sense his affections, even though she's a little crazy. She's also smart and she knows what's going on. So just a great opening. I think that's one of the highlights of this season, even though I know that beginning part may not have been important as, of course, as the ending, which we'll get to eventually. I think that was just a great scene. The opening scenes of this season before the credits roll have just been some of the best of the series. I'm just loving it so far. So again, let's go back. Let's move up a little bit. The planning, done by Hank and Jesse, just kind of outsmarting Mr. White, Walter. We never really see Walter, panicking. I mean, he's usually the one who's ahead of everybody else. I mean, even Gus Fring, who was the best, bad guy this show has ever had, besides Walt himself, was, Walt was a step ahead of him. Walt's always a step of the competition, and now he's got his back up against the wall. I mean, of course, I guess we just got to get right to it. That final scene, that was so cool. Even the drive there, that was one of the better driving scenes, if I can call it that, I've ever seen in a television. So I love just watching him, blow through Albuquerque, just going to the desert. Such a great scene. The look on Walt's face when he realizes that he's been outsmarted, the look of panic while he's sitting in the car, and how bad are those people when what they're shooting? That is some of the worst shooting I've ever seen. Those guys have all those guns aimed on those guys in the middle of the desert, and they still can't hit anything. That's just, that's television, it's movies. It wouldn't be an exciting shootout if everybody died right away. So I can't wait for next week. I can't wait to see what's going to happen. What's going to be the ramifications of that shootout. I don't know if it was just me. Like, I'm not one of those people who can look at a series or look at a scene and be like, oh, I know what's going to happen next. But I'm sure if I sense something, I'm sure a lot of you did too. So I'd love to hear your feedback on this. During that whole scene when Walt was being arrested, were you sensing something was going to happen? Did you, in the back of your mind, that Walt gets away. You know that Walt comes from New Hampshire, Vermont, wherever he is, he gets out. So like in the back of your mind that Todd and his people are going to come. I just felt that. Like, I was just waiting for the end of the episode. I kept looking at the clock. Like, I'm not here in LA, so I was watching like at 6 p.m. and I'm looking at the clock. It's getting closer to 7. I'm like, well, when is this scene going to happen? I know Todd and his family are going to show up out of nowhere. And they did. And Breaking Bad always pays off, I think. It's one of the few shows that I think has the best payoffs. And me and a show has to have a big action sequence at the end, but I like that this show does have a payoff. I mean, it builds and builds and builds. The tension's always building. It does it for a reason. In the end, you're rewarded for that. So this is just another great episode. Always a lot of tension. I mean, again, the focus here is definitely that last scene. But what do you think about, going back to the beginning, what do you think about the stuff with Lydia and Todd? I mean, how do you see their relationship going? Obviously, it's not going to be some full-fledged romance. I don't think there's enough time for that. But where do you see that going? Where do you see Todd in this? Where do you see Todd and Walter? I think Todd still has a lot of affection for Walt, as opposed to Jesse, who's just, I mean, and Jesse too. I mean, he's so crazy right now, but he's so great. Aaron Paul is an amazing actor. I love his wide-eyed expression. He has his wide eyes the whole time during Walter's arrest. So, I mean, who do you think? Are we going to see some deaths next week? I mean, they're in the middle of a shootout. Who's going to make it? Who do you think is going to survive this onslaught? I mean, this is going to be a great shootout. It already was a great shootout. This was already another excellent episode. I love this season so far. Again, I'm just touching on some highlights. I'm going to hear some feedback from you. Fill me in on your favorite scenes. What was your favorite scene? I mean, how did you think about, Walt Jr. doing the stuff at the car wash, learning what the A1 way is? But again, another solid episode. Love to hear your feedback. And as always, please also help me out with the Navajo tribe stuff. If any of you are from New Mexico, if you're from that area, if you have background, study on Navajo tribe, let me know. Let me know if this title has more context, because I wasn't able to research enough time to learn about the context of the title, if it had more to do with the episode than just a location outside of Albuquerque. So please let me know about that too. But as always, you can come chat with us at thinkhero.com. You can also come chat with us on our YouTube page, which is right here at Think Hero Pro. We're also on Twitter. If you want to talk to myself, Dennis, any of us, we're at Think Hero. If you want to talk to me personally, chat with me, ask me some questions, let's chat some Breaking Bad, whatever shows you're into right now. I'm at GriffinDE. And of course, we do have a Facebook page, and that's facebook.com/ThinkHeroFans.